like to visit? To the lobby we go!
Does sublight underground run this place?
You.
Looks a lot cleaner than the groundbreaker.
You're not allowed up with no appointment. Unless you want to chat with some guards. Appointment? Yeah, that's why you're here. Appointment? Not entirely out of the question. Convince me. Wouldn't mind a new bolter pistol. I've fired mine so many times, the tips nearly fell off. Let's give Mr. Kincannon a ring. Mr. Kincannon, got a person of interest here to see you. Think they've got business.
That sounds like our inspector. Please, send him up.
Why, if it isn't the inspector, I was hoping you'd swing by. Here for my alibi, I assume. Another murder? Drunk Raptidons? Black Hole Birdie practicing his hacking in the middle of the street? Stop me if it's one of those, or I'll just keep guessing. Sounds as though you've already sorted it out yourself. Slug uniforms do seem to go missing from the hotel laundry with impressive regularity. Easy enough for someone to nick a few. Now ask yourself this. Why would anyone give thugs slug gear and send them after you? Well, to smear my name, anyway. But I can't fathom who would benefit from tarnishing my reputation like that. Can you? You said it, not me. So, as you've deduced, I did not send anyone from Slug after you, nor is it likely they assigned themselves that task. Still, I am sorry for the trouble, Inspector. With that settled, I assume you'll want to know where I was the night of Helen's murder. Let's see. That night, I was... torturing Elliot Nasser for information on missing cargo. That was a messy one. Didn't break until nearly noon the next day. Can you imagine? An excellent question. I had his body dropped off the edge of the land complex. I'm not sure what happened to it from there, scientifically speaking. Maybe it dissolved? Ultimately, though, it doesn't matter. You'd be a fool to believe me, regardless of what I told you. People lie, and I am, incriminatingly, people. Which, as I said, you should not trust. If it helps, however, you might consider pursuing not my means, but my motive. Why in the name of the architect would I kill Halcyon Helen? She was making me a fortune. I'm considering a line of commemorative merchandise. Still, that's nothing compared to what Helen would have made us in the long run. I'd offer to assist you in your work, but I have a mystery of my own to solve, I'm afraid. You may very well want to. This particular trouble strikes me as not unrelated to your investigation. Items are disappearing from Slug's storage and processing warehouse. The thefts began a week before Helen's unfortunate death, and there have been more instances since. Before you ask, I know the difference between cargo going missing and cargo going missing. This is the latter. I'm not sure. I'm only confident there is one. That the theft began mere days before Helen's untimely demise is an extraordinary coincidence. I'm not a man who believes in happenstance, Inspector. I do not trust it. I certainly wouldn't take that bet. Regardless, this will be fun. You out in the field, chasing down leads, me scheming in my office, preparing to unspeakably mangle the perpetrator. You do recall, Inspector, that I'm not to be trusted? But certainly, whatever you say. You'll want to speak with Ella Tinsley, the warehouse foreman. I've cleared her as a suspect myself, but should she refuse to cooperate, shoot her. No, I'm joking. And do feel free to search my office for clues while you're here.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This copy of TK contains 142 fewer pages than a standard copy. The missing pages were likely removed to create sufficient space for the hidden listening device inside. Inspector, please consider speaking into the device in order to trace the transmission and reveal the receiver's location. Ominous threat transmitted. Transmission analysis complete. While the precise location of the receiver could not be pinpointed, it has been narrowed down to a smaller, approximate range. Analysis inconclusive. However, there is a minor accumulation of dust particles present on the book's uppermost surface. The area within a 0.5-meter radius of the book possesses a dust coating comprised of at least twice the number of particles. That is highly likely, Inspector.
What's that you found? No, wait, don't tell me. Let's save it for the big reveal once you've solved the case.
Alarming levels of slime and grime are being stored in these non-regulation containers. Recommended solution.
Hi there. Sorry that... Feel free to have a look around, sir.
So this is where Slug keeps all its contraband, right?
You're the inspector, aren't you? Boss Kincannon said you'd be by about the cargo that's been going missing. Gosh, this is so neat. A real-life inspector. What's that like? Have you solved any mysteries yet? Ever had to shoot a suspect? Right, of course. Just tell me how I can help. That's the weird part. There's no pattern, far as I can tell. The thefts don't make sense. I ask you, who would steal a handful of Spacer's Choice Sabers, so dull they can barely cut mud, but leave the spectrum black? Ugh. Who'd be desperate enough to want to steal a Spacer's Choice Saber, full stop? Yeah, probably not. No one's dumb enough to think Spacer's Choice Sabers are worth half a damn. Then there's the most recent theft. 5 boxes of pens and a couple of sodas. I can't decide which one's sadder. I wish they hadn't stolen the blue pens. We can never keep enough of those in stock. Everyone here at Freight Storage and Processing, for a start. Thing is, the cargo is going missing before the shipments even get to the warehouse. Best I can figure, It's probably getting lost in the shipping yard. As for who has access there, Benton Chan, he's the shipping yard manager. He told me it's mainly just the loading automechs that handle cargo. Could be. Those things will break if you so much as look at them funny. That's Benton's area, but don't bother asking him for help. Last time I asked him to check the automechs, the whole head told me he couldn't help because he was dead. Brain dead, maybe. But no. My point is that if you think the automechs are a lead, you'll have to check on them yourself. Hopefully, you're mechanically inclined. Oh, before I forget, I figured you might want to access my terminal, so I had a spare keycard made. It's all yours. I wish you were being sarcastic.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Transmission endpoint discovered. The receiver in this book matches the transmitter to the listening device found in Cedric's office. It's somewhat grime-covered. Due to the high level of foot traffic in this area, this unit is unable to determine who placed the device. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Inspector, this loading automechanical's programming does not match factory default settings. The standard defensive protocol has been modified to include an additional trigger. Slug automechanical maintenance records indicate this particular unit is frequently reported as out of position or missing for periods of time. There is a directive in place to initiate defensive protocol should an unsanctioned data log installed in this automechanical be removed. For Type K-19 cargo transport automechanicals, defensive protocol is triggered by attempted interference with cargo, or its transportation, or attempted destruction of the unit. Once triggered, defensive protocol targets the perpetrator and applies lethal force until the target has been deceased for a minimum of 3 minutes.
Loading automechanical unit. How can this automechanical assist you? Access panel is open. Please be sure to close the access panel when you are done. Failsafe successfully disabled. Kill mode deactivated. Ejecting data log 17C. Apologies. This unit does not have access to cargo inventory lists. Unit entering standby mode. Have a nice day.
Inspector, to what do I owe the pleasure? Ooh, I love this part. The big reveal. So tell me, what happened? What makes you say that? Damn, you're good. Hacking the Automex. So that was our skimmer's game. But why? Everything that was stolen has seemed random. I certainly see no pattern. So, our culprit had something specific they wished to acquire and used the random theft as a smokescreen. I must say, Inspector, you've done excellent work on this case. Then that just leaves how the culprit knew where their true target would be, or indeed, that Slug would soon possess it. Okay, that's very impressive. Don't ever touch me again. Am I right to think what you found in my office earlier was the other half of this listening device? She, Inspector. She could hear everything. The bug belongs to me, Inspector. I lent it to Halcyon Helen to assist her with role research. That, or she never intended it to stop. Impossible to know now. Unbelievable. I helped her. Gave her whatever she needed. I thought we were doing each other a good turn. I can't begin to guess at her motive. If it was to spit in my face, she'd be pleased to know she succeeded. This is a betrayal, Inspector. I do not take betrayal lightly. Helen should consider herself very lucky indeed that she is already among the dead, and that some other bastard beat me to putting her in the ground. Yes, I suppose we have. There is, however, a slight chronological incongruency to it. I now have a motive to kill Halcyon Helen, but Halcyon Helen is already dead. If I'd known Helen was stealing from me, I may very well have killed her, or had her killed. Alas, I did not. Indeed. Incidentally, feel free to stop by after you clear me as a suspect. I won't even say, I told you so. Though I can't vouch for Eileen. I wish you luck with your investigation, though I doubt you'll need it. You'll find Helen's murderer. I'm confident of that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must find a way to excise my anger that minimally damages my business empire. I expect it will involve shooting quite a lot of guns.
Inspector? Closely, I trust. Tell me what you found. Of course he's got an alibi. He runs Sublight Underground. He probably starts his day by preparing half a dozen alibis. With that in mind, do you think Cedric was responsible for Helen's death? No motive. That's disappointing, because it's exactly the conclusion he'd want us to make. Unfortunately, even I don't have the authority to detain Cedric. His line of work is dangerous, though. There's always a chance for an accident. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I've already lost Dr. Blossom and Constable Keene, but at least Cedric's alive. The universe is a just place.